there, it's Amy Schmidt, your host of the Fearlessly Facing 50 and Beyond podcast. I am so happy that you have chosen to spend time with me. As a reinvention confidence expert, along with a storyteller, I've shared quite a few things along this journey. But what I've found is the most important info to share are stories. Stories of amazing people, ordinary people, extraordinary people, doing things that are going to inspire you to action. So come and join me in this space because you're going to be inspired. Let's get started. It's our time. Hey there, it's Amy, and welcome to this episode of the Fearlessly Facing 50 and Beyond podcast. I'm so happy you're here. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, to be honest. And, it's all about being vulnerable and sharing your journey. And hopefully through sharing that inspiration and that journey and transparency, it inspires somebody, it challenges somebody, it gives somebody some info that they may need. So today's episode is pretty personal, gotta be honest. And we are talking about this incredible company that I was introduced to called INNOVO. You can check it out at myinnovo.com, which is myinnovo.com. And it's just pretty amazing. So as you know, I'm a mom of 3 kids. I got big kids, and I have struggled with stress urinary incontinence for a while. I'm going to be honest. I'll put it out there. I know my kids listen to this. My husband listens to this. My friends listen to this. I'm putting it out there. You know what? There is nothing worse than not being able to participate in activities you really want to because you're concerned about, peeing. Let's be honest. A little bit of leakage. Let's be honest. I know, putting it out there for sure. But if this resonates with you or you know somebody that this resonates with, please share this episode with them because it's really important for us to open the dialogue about these things. Heck, we're women. We have these things. We go through something called menopause. We give, birth to children if we're able to, and we've gone through that process and we're blessed to do that. This could be an issue that we're dealing with. And it is something that, especially in the United States, is more prevalent than other parts of the country. Let's be honest. I've had some terrific episodes in the past talking about this very subject. Hello Hazel was on. I love that company and what they have developed around it. I've had a pelvic floor physical therapist on. I've had episodes about menopause. So this is something that definitely is a topic that is something women really need to dig into and talk about more. So I'm excited to bring you this episode. I want to tell you about INNOVO. It's a product that actually was sent to me. So I was gifted a product and I was able to try it. And it is really a cool product. I'm not going to lie. It's very cool. I'm since I taped the episode with Jamie, probably like 40 days in now and seeing improvement, which is amazing for me because heck, ladies, we want to be able to sneeze, laugh, jump on the trampoline, play tennis, ski, climb a mountain, whatever we want to do and not be worried about stress urinary incontinence, right? Can I get an amen on that? Because I don't think I'm the only one talking about this. I think there's a lot of women out there that this will resonate with. So I'm really excited for a couple of reasons. One, I've been trying this product. I'm going to continue to track my journey around this and share results that I have had. It's been amazing so far. I know it takes consistency, so I'm only 40 days in, but it is something easy to do, and it's like a little self-care gift to yourself, I gotta be honest. So I want to share a couple things with you. You can go to my post on Instagram. So my Instagram is Fearlessly Facing 50. You can go there, you can see the post, and all you need to do is like the post, tag 3 friends who would love to win that prize. It's an enormous valued gift. And you can enter as many times as you like, 1 comment, 1 entry, but you have to tag 3 friends. And you have to follow my own handle, which of course is Fearlessly Facing 50. You got to follow me and you got to follow my INNOVO with an underscore. Those are the only things. And you can be entered in this fantastic giveaway, which I'm blown away with, to be honest. I'm just so pleased with this company. And I want you to learn more about it. So I also wanted to let you know that there is an incredible discount that you will be getting if you use the code AMYK100, so AMYK, and then the number 100, you're going to get $100 off if you order. So incredible. I'm blown away. And you know what? That's what I love to do on this show is support women-owned brands and products that I'm using, that I'm finding helpful and encouraging along my journey I want to share with you. So enough about that, but go ahead and follow Fearlessly Facing 50 on Instagram, like the post, tag 3 friends, follow my INNOVO with an underscore, and you're entered into a drawing for this incredible product. If you suffer like I have suffered or struggled and need a little support around this area, this is an incredible company. So enough about that. I want to introduce you to my incredible guest today, who I'm just super excited to have on the show. We've gone back and forth for a while. We really have finally connected, and it's funny because we've connected over this product. And I've had her mom, Joan London, on the show before, and Jamie Hess is amazing. She's a TV personality and co-creator of the popular Instagram account at NYC FitFam. And they just have a great story. She contributes on-air wellness advice and lifestyle tips to hundreds of shows. Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Good Morning America, The View, you name it, she's been there. She's just really a great person with great energy and loves to share her thoughts around wellness, her own personal journey, also on Off the Gram podcast, which she co-hosts with Megan Murphy, who I've had on my show before. I love these gals, so follow them and listen to the podcast and get to know Jamie because she's pretty cool. So today she's on with me, and we're going to talk about her journey with stress urinary incontinence and how it's really affected her. We talk about INNOVO. Once again, I wanted to let you know that I only support products that I have tried, I know, and I have personal experience with. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I wanted to have it as part of the Surround Yourself with Greatness series because I think this is important to talk about for women of a certain age. I really do. I think it's a topic that gets overlooked. And there's so much information and so many emerging products and companies that are really taking this to the forefront and opening the dialogue about a topic that's very personal. So check it out. Remember to go ahead to the Instagram and be entered in this fantastic giveaway. Or when you order the product, make sure to use my code, which is AmyK100. You get $100 off, and it's amazing. So start your journey with me. I'm 40 days in. Come along, join me. I'm telling you, it's a life changer. It's truly a life changer. So sit back and enjoy my inspiring convo with Jamie Hess. Well, welcome to this episode of the Fearlessly Facing 50 podcast. I'm so excited because this conversation is with a superhuman, Jamie Hess. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, we have been going back and forth because, Off the Gram podcast, I loved your back to school segment. We went back and forth a little bit on that. I've had the pleasure of having your mom on the show a couple of times. And I love what you're doing because you are somebody that ignites a spark in people and encourages them, but gives them really attainable ways to kind of achieve it. And I think that a lot of times as women of any age, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, beyond that, we have so much information given to us that sometimes it's really hard to process and actually push play on it. And so I applaud you for what you do on the podcast with your own brand, and that'll all be linked to the episode notes. So I'm really proud of you. I think you do a great job.
Thank you so much. I mean, like you said, it almost is like too many things to say, all the things that I do, but just to give a real, a little kind of encapsulation. It all started with Instagram, and I'm an Instagram influencer known as NYC FitFam.
Yes.
And who knew, right? Because I was not trying to be an influencer for a living. I'm not a millennial. My husband and I are 42 and 62 years old, not trying to be influencers. I was a
Right.
senior executive at a big, company.
Yeah.
And, however, when you have the opportunity to disseminate information about wellness and demystify stuff that people are embarrassed to talk about, and talk about the stuff that really lights your fire, and then you can make that your business, what a gift. And so I do that on Instagram and on television. I have a coaching program called The Big Ask.
Yes.
And I really just do it across categories from, podcasting to multimedia to one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
And it's really what kind of lights me up.
Isn't it awesome? And I think women thrive on that because we want that community. We want to learn from each other. And when we, I always say when we're standing in a room and all of a sudden you're on the edge of the seat as a woman because you're hearing something that you really think is something that maybe you are just dealing with. And all of a sudden it's like this room full of women and you got your hand up going, yes, that's me too. And we thrive on that, when we share information. And that's the reason we're really talking today is about one of these topics that certainly is near and dear to my heart. And I have brought it up on other shows and, on blog posts and things like that. I've been pretty transparent about it. But, when we talk about women and struggling with not being able to, jump up and down, have fun, laugh, all of those things that we're supposed to be able to do with confidence. And then all of a sudden, this kind of changes, whether you're going through menopause or it's after childbirth, whatever. So we're going to kind of break it down today. So tell me why you're so passionate about this.
Okay. So what you're talking about, Amy, is stress urinary incontinence.
Yes,
but
you said it.
But what most people would say is just like leaky bladder, right?
Yep.
But we don't really say anything because we don't talk about it.
Right.
And women are so embarrassed. I first started realizing this was happening to me. I was running a half marathon with my husband, and running, mind you, was my passion. It was the thing that brought my husband and I together. It was our joy. It was foundational to our relationship. It was my way that I got my mojo back after having my babies. Like it was my thing that was just mine.
Yep.
And I'm running this half marathon with him, and I look up at him and I said, babe, I'm literally peeing in my pants right now, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. And you told him.
I told him, and we had like a laugh because like, what do? You just have to laugh, like have a giggle, but it really wasn't funny. It wasn't funny to me. It was actually quite devastating. And I had to stop doing these classes that were like rebounder classes. I had to stop running, all things I love to do. And I mean, things that I also love to do, laughing, sneezing, very normal things. And I was having this problem. And here's the thing though, Amy, is that 1 in 3 women leak. And I think that's actually a conservative number because I think more people just don't admit it or talk about it.
Yeah.
So every time I do get up in front of an audience and speak about this topic, which is quite often, and I've talked about it with my mom, Joan London, the two of us have gotten up and spoken about it together on TV and to audiences. Inevitably, women come up to me afterwards and grab my shoulder and say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. Like I've been so embarrassed. I had to stop running too, like da, 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 da. And so I started as a wellness expert. I thought I must do some research on this. So I started trying to figure out how to fix it. And I did start doing pelvic floor exercises. I went even to
Kegels.
PT. So first I started doing just like pelvic floor PT and then exercises like clamshells and different types of squats. And there's all different things that you can do to try to strengthen your pelvic floor, but it's tedious and it's hard to keep up with. And then there's the Kegels, right? And all of our doctors tell us to do Kegels. And it's like, my doctor told me when I was pregnant to do Kegels. You don't know if you're doing them right, and they're so hard to do and they're kind of annoying.
They're annoying. My doctor used to say, Amy, when you're at a stoplight, just do 20 Kegels. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how do you do that?
You do 20 Kegels. I'm listening to a podcast. You know what I mean? Like I'm busy living my life. So I'll tell you what honestly changed the game for me. And it's a product and it's something that you probably would never even imagine that this would exist. It's called INNOVO. And so what it is a pair of bike shorts. They're smart bike shorts. Non-invasive. There's no probe. Nothing goes inside you, which by the way, is how pelvic floor physical therapy works, which I didn't know till I got there. I was like, hello, but it's all very uncomfortable because you're like, whoa, what is this world? Well, that's not INNOVO. INNOVO is simply a pair of shorts that you put on. And it's so cool. It has like a little, you actually control the intensity of it. So you can kind of work your way up, but it has this multi-path technology. So it has these little pads on the inside that stimulate your body into doing the perfect Kegel, and not just one perfect Kegel. You sit with them on 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And in the 30 minutes, you get 180 perfect Kegels per session. So I literally will sit back and read a book, and it's like mommy's me time for 30 minutes. And I have this device to do the Kegels for me. And I'm very pleased to say that I used it for 12 weeks when I first got introduced to the product. And I am one of the 87% of women who used the product for 12 weeks and is now leak-free.
Yeah, 87%, which is amazing. So I'm 30 days in. So it's really interesting how you measure yourself and you get the right size. And, I got the box. The box is beautiful. It's that blue, that beautiful teal color. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then you open it up and you're like, wow, okay, this is something. Like you really have to kind of break it down and look at it. But, like Jamie was saying, it is non-invasive, which is amazing. And it's, that's the right terminology, right? Non-invasive.
Absolutely non-invasive.
And, I put them on and I was like, okay. And 30 minutes of actually doing Kegels correctly, once the product is sized correctly and everything, it's easy. And 30 days in, I am noticing a difference.
That's so great to hear. I'm so glad to hear that. I think this conversation that we're having right now is just what needs to happen more. Because what women need to realize is you can take the power into your own hands. And what a great time to be alive, right? Like this used to be something that women would have to get over, that little hurdle of being embarrassed to go talk to their doctor. And
Yes.
not that you shouldn't talk to your doctor, and not that you should be embarrassed, but if it is something that you kind of struggle with, imagine, our mothers didn't have the option to just
We never talked about it.
order something to your
Right.
door that comes discreetly, that you can
Right.
totally take the power into your own hands,
Yes.
literally, and do it by yourself. So I think it's really great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
myinnovo.com, and you don't need a prescription.
No.
And you can literally fix this problem on your own.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I know we were going to have on one of the physicians today too, which I think we'll circle back with in another episode. But what's so interesting to me is I spent a lot of time in Europe. I lived in Europe with my family for a while, and I got to know a lot of women that were French. and ironically, I've got 3 kids, so I'm in my 50s. Some of them that had 2 and 3 kids said, as soon as they gave birth in France, now maybe it was certain parts of France, but anyway, they, had a lactation specialist that was right there with them. They also had a device that they used that was immediately flexing and, using that muscle. Yeah. So I think in Europe, now I don't know the actual statistics, you might know better than me, but, the United States really leads the way with stress urinary incontinence problems for women.
Well, I think the United States in general, and this is my own opinion, not the opinion of anyone else, but right. I think in general, postpartum care is just not what it should be, right? Comparatively to especially like a lot of European countries. So they obviously get more time for themselves, but also they tend to get pelvic floor physical therapy, just as like, that's it's obvious. Yes, of course your care provider would give that to you, because
Isn't
it's
that
part
amazing?
of your recovery. Yeah. And we just don't look at it like that here. It's like you have a baby and it's like, all right, couple weeks, best of luck, figure it out.
Isn't
and
that funny?
It's not something that's that easy to figure out. So
it's not.
I have been really so honored to be able to spread the word about this particular issue, because it was so pervasive and real in my life.
Yeah.
And now that I'm talking about it, I hear every single day how important this is to other women. This is what, I share about it on NYC Fit Fam. Women DM me immediately.
Yeah.
What is this? Does it really work? And I'm so glad to be able to say, like, it really does, because that's really what being an influencer should be about.
Yeah.
It should be about helping people genuinely find solutions to problems that are really bothering them.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you talk about this with your mom? I did not. And my mom passed away, but I did not talk about this with her.
You know what? I'm very lucky, because my mom, and I breezed over it earlier, but in case people don't know, my mom is Joan London. She, of course, hosted Good Morning America for like 20 years. And so her last book is called Why Did I Come in This Room? A candid conversation about aging. And one of her chapters is called Sometimes I Laugh So Hard, Tears Roll Down My Leg.
Yes.
Now, my mom being this candid about issues and just issues of women's health made me feel a lot less embarrassed, which is why I wanted to then consequently kind of take the ball from her and run with it and continue to bring forth some of these trickier to talk about issues and just speak about them on my public platform. So my mom and I have always had a different relationship where we've been a bit more open, because it's kind of part of her brand. And I've always thought that was very cool.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Health first for her always. It is an interesting thing, because when you go out with girlfriends, I'm just thinking of my peer group, and you sit around and have cocktails, you're not really talking about this. But yet when we start opening the dialogue and saying, I'm really not playing tennis anymore. And that's a true story for me. I wasn't, because it was so frustrating for me. Yes. And, you go into your local CVS or Walgreens or whatever local pharmacy, and there are aisles and aisles of products now for women, Depends, all of those types of things. And it's really it's just something that we need to talk about more. And now there's solutions like INNOVO, which, I was so pleased to be introduced to it, because I am seeing, I'm only 30 days in, and after 12 weeks, I'm sure it'll be even better, but I'm already seeing a difference, and it just boosts your confidence. That's what I talk about all the time is, confidence for women. And when you have a leaky bladder and it's frustrating, it's embarrassing, and it leads to other things like, urinary tract infections, yeast infections, those types of things, because you constantly have moisture.
Absolutely.
It's difficult.
It is difficult. And here's the thing, like, you shouldn't be embarrassed. At least I don't feel like I should be embarrassed. I had 2 beautiful kids. You had 3 beautiful kids. Like, kids came out of this body. There's residual damage. Okay, let's deal with it. It's not, I didn't do anything wrong to be embarrassed about. And, I'm glad you brought up the issue of pads, because that's how a lot of women are dealing with this issue, is just by wearing pads. So when you look at the cost also of that over the course of a year, we just recalculated some of the math, like with inflation, it could be like $800 a year if you're using pads regularly. So really the cost of, investing in yourself in a product that can actually help you solve the problem from the inside out versus masking it with pads. And also as a runner, who wants to be running a half marathon in a bulky pad? Not me.
Exactly. Or a tampon or something like that. It's just
which wouldn't necessarily help anyway. But there's all sorts of products, but really nothing solves it except for solving it.
Yeah. So walk me through the first time you put on these shorts, because I would love to share my experience too, because, you get them and you unbox it and you're like, okay, they're like bike shorts basically. And I mean, it's a little bit of it is self-care. It's a gift to yourself to have this 30 minutes just to kind of be too, which I kind of enjoy. You called it mommy time or something. What did you say? You called it?
Well, and it's funny. I actually wrote a blog post for the INNOVO blog about like things that you could do during those 30 minutes. Like,
love it. I'm going to link that.
Minutes, as a time to carve out for yourself. What could you do? Could that be your time to develop a gratitude practice or some mindfulness journaling? Could it be your time to actually, you always say, I don't have time to meditate. Okay, well, here's your 30 minutes, could that be your time? The first time I ever used them, I was trepidatious like anybody else. I was like, oh gosh, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
And so you put them on. And what I like is that there's a controller and that you get to up the intensity.
Yeah.
So you get to like see what it feels like and then lift it a little bit. What does it feel like? Just like a little pulse, like just like you would think it would kind of feel like. Yeah. And then you raise the intensity to your comfort level. But again, nothing is invasive and there's no probe. So it's nothing that's uncomfortable. It's just a sensation and it goes all the way around from the front to the back, which is as your pelvic floor muscle does, right? It kind of spans, it traverses the bottom of your trunk. And so that's what it affects, right? All the way to your buttocks. And you just literally I kind of lay back and read a book usually.
Me too.
The best position. And it is kind of nice. It's like 30 minutes of time that I get to tell the kids, nope, mommy's doing her thing,
Mommy's doing her thing. Exactly. Yeah. I love it. So I had a question come in from a woman named Kate from Colorado. So I always like to get some questions because I had teased out that we were going to be talking about this. And she has a problem, but she's 52. And she has this problem with stress urinary incontinence. Her question was, and, we're answering this just from, our expertise in the area. We're not physicians, that type of thing. But she asked about sex life. And I think this is another topic that is so important at this age in our 40s and 50s and beyond, because it changes. She asked that if you are doing Kegels and you're finding some relief with that and you're finding some consistency and you're better with your leaking, that type of thing, is your sex life improving? Does that include that muscle? I have no idea.
Well, again, I am not a doctor, but what I can say is that pelvic floor health is pelvic floor health, right? And just like any other part of your body, everything's interconnected. But what I can say more from a lifestyle perspective and anecdotally is that my closeness with my husband improved when I was able to resume activities that we like to do together. So for me, it was less about sensation of sex, which is like, it is what it is. For me, though, I was losing a foundational piece of my romantic partnership, which was that's how I started NYC Fit Fam, was my journey with my husband of doing fitness together and pursuing like a healthy lifestyle and how we loved that and how it made us happy to explore those things together. And I was having to give a lot of that up. So in being able to return to those activities because I was no longer embarrassed, it definitely changed my relationship.
Great answer. Oh, I love that. And that's so relatable to so many listening, I'm sure. A little sidebar, Jamie, you and your husband met or got engaged at Barry's.
Yeah.
On the treadmill.
On a treadmill at Barry's boot camp.
I love that. I read that. I think that's terrific. So you've just shared so much, great information and just kind of been a light about this topic that is very sensitive. And I hope that, listeners are saying, okay, or if they know a friend that says, hey, I've struggled with this, open the dialogue about it, talk about it. And, we're going to have the link for INNOVO's product in the bio. They're actually going to be giving one away, one of their starter kits, which is amazing. It's a $495 value to a listener. So we will have details for that in the episode notes. But I applaud you for one, getting on board with this because you are an influencer and you're a voice that people really listen to. And I also love the fact that you're using something, you're sharing your personal journey about it and how it's improved. And it's the same for me. I just feel like I'm 30 days in another, 60 days, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's really a gift you can give yourself, right?
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
women, we try to pour from an empty cup so much, and we try to take care of everybody else. But like,
Yep.
you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And if part of that is taking care of a problem that like kind of keeps you up at night,
Yeah.
then that's what you got to do.
Exactly. Exactly. So one last question I'm going to ask you before we go. And I ask this on every podcast. So Jamie, if you were sitting on the couch and you look over and there you were at 30, what advice would you give her?
Believe. Believe, because I say this all the time. Somebody asked me the other day, I had just given a keynote, and she was like, we were sitting at the lunch table afterwards, and I was listening to some issues of young professionals and what their issues were. And they were overcoming, self-doubt, and does my boss hate me? And am I asking for what I'm worth? And all of these things. And they kind of just looked at me and said, like, what's your secret? And I said, well, I absolutely don't believe I can fail. She was like, well, that sounds great, but how do you do that?
Wow.
And I said, it's simple. It has nothing to do with not being humble. Like, it's not braggadocious. I don't believe that I can fail because I've done the reps, right? I've proven to myself that even if there's 10 no's, that the 11th one is going to be a yes if I just keep out there. And so if I could look back at myself at 30, where I had imposter syndrome and all of these feelings of self-doubt, I would just tell her, believe.
I love that. Thank you. That was goosebumps for me. Thanks, Jamie. This was so much fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. Thanks
Yeah, it was so great to meet you. And it's a great topic. And thank you for sharing, being transparent and honest and all that you do. And I'll link everything to the notes so everybody can get in touch with you and follow what you're doing, because you're amazing. So thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so I hope that this episode inspired you, encouraged you, and challenged you. Because when we share our stories, they're inspiring. You know what? It's important for people to connect. Connection is key. People need people. So as you go forward this week or today, be a difference maker, be a change maker, not only in your life, but in somebody else's. Reach out with a text, an email, or a phone call. Connection is key. It builds community and it builds confidence. Go forth and be awesome, and I'll see you soon.